There's a lot of leadership advice right now that sounds like peace, but it's actually permission to disengage. When leaders say, I don't have to care, I don't have to show up, I don't have to be the bigger person, that's not growth, that's retreat. Welcome back, Northbound. I'm Chris, your host, and today we're talking about leadership noise versus leadership responsibility and a different way to get to the summit. This episode confronts the growing wave of me-centered leadership advice, and it prioritizes comfort, detachment, self-protection over responsibility, service, and one of my favorite words, courage. It's often framed as healthy boundaries or finding peace, but this mindset erodes leadership and influence and trust and culture. I want to offer you a different path. This is a different type of journey, and I'm going to be really raw and really upfront today about a couple of things. This is rooted in responsibility and moral courage, and it's going to ask you to show up even when it's inconvenient. Let's get into the main points of this episode today. There is a rise in leadership noise. I don't know if you see it. It's part of the reason that I have started this. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Like I'm seeing all the noise, so I'm just going to add to it. But there's so much bad advice. And leadership advice these days has become really loud, fast, emotionally validating. And much of it sounds empowering, but it really, really removes obligation and good leadership. It appeals to leaders who are exhausted, but it comes at a cost. And remember this, not all advice brings relief. And most of the advice that's out there is not building you as a leader. I saw something the other day from a CEO coach. I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to break it down, and we're going to address it. And what I read was this. Quote, one thing I came to peace with in 2025 is that I don't have to. I don't have to go out of my way. I don't have to be the bigger person. I don't have to fix anything I didn't break. I don't have to support those who don't support me. I don't have to try to make everyone happy. I don't have to explain myself to anyone. And I don't have to keep people in my life who don't bring me peace. If that resonates with you, I am sorry. That's sad. He says I 10 times in that, and I'm not including the my statements either in that. The core message is that I don't have to do it. I don't have to be the bigger person. I don't have to fix what I didn't break. I don't have to support those who support me, or who don't support me, rather. I don't have to keep people who don't bring me peace. It resonates with some people because leadership is hard and conflict is exhausting, and we all want relief. But here's where it fails. Leadership is being the bigger person. A lot of times, it's going to require you to be the bigger person. Responsibility includes fixing what you didn't break. I have had to fix so many things over the years that I never caused it to break. But maybe it still fell within my responsibility. Maybe if I didn't fix it, nobody else was going to. Sometimes you're just going to have to do that. Support isn't transactional. Sometimes you're not going to get the support you think you deserve. And peace is not the same as purpose. We also need to make a big distinction between boundaries and disengagement. Healthy boundaries are good, and it protects sustainability. Self-centered boundaries excuse disengagement. Here is the truth. Boundaries should preserve your ability to lead, but not remove your obligation to do so. We all know the story of the Good Samaritan. There's a lot to that story in the Bible that's not necessarily always taught, but the Good Samaritan is all about leadership without convenience. The priest and the Levite had legitimate reasons to pass by. They protected their schedules, their status, and their safety. The Samaritan, however, accepted responsibility that wasn't his. And if you know the story well, you know that they were actually enemies. But the Samaritan saw him. And we've talked about that before, about he saw him, which means that he felt his pain in his own guts. And that's leadership. Leadership isn't about who caused the problem. It's about who is willing to stop. It's about who is willing to help. Northbound has a different way to the summit. We don't lead to be comfortable. We lead to be responsible. We don't outsource care. We don't confuse peace with avoidance. And here's the truth. Here is where we're just going to be real honest about it. This path that I'm talking about is slower, it's heavier, and it's harder, but it produces trust, strong cultures, and meaningful impact. So what is the cost of me first leadership? When leaders follow the advice that I read, teams will feel abandoned, problems will get passed downstream, culture will become transactional, people will stop going the extra mile. If you as a leader don't go the extra mile, they aren't either. And your influence is going to shrink. Leadership that centers yourself will stand alone. So here are some quick main points that we went over with the key takeaways for today. And that is that not all leadership advice is good leadership advice. Comfort-based leadership erodes responsibility. Boundaries should sustain leadership, not excuse disengagement. Leadership often requires fixing what you didn't break. The Good Samaritan models responsibility without convenience, and Northbound leadership chooses courage over comfort. So, leadership is not about protecting your peace at all costs. It is about being the bigger person, and that is not weakness, that's leadership. And just because you take responsibility does not require blame. That's different. Your influence is going to grow when you step towards problems, not away from them. And the summit matters. How you get to the summit matters more. When you are in leadership, it's time to lead. That's your responsibility, is to lead. And it's sometimes not pretty. And it's sometimes really, really hard. That's why it is important to find the way that you recharge, the way that you can bring peace to your life. Jesus Christ can help with that. He brings peace to my life. And so does my family. And so does backpacking and being in God's creation. So that's for me how I find that. But when I'm in leadership, it's all in. It's 100%. There is no, I don't have to. There is no, I didn't break it, so I don't fix it. And sometimes I'm going to have to explain myself to some people, especially if I don't meet expectations. It's not about me. It was never about me. And if you're in a leadership position, it's not about you. It's about the people you lead. Northbound is about helping you and your team get to the summit the right way. Contact me directly at chris@go-northbound.com. I want to walk with you and your team. Thanks, everybody. You just listened to another episode from the Northbound Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you are encouraged and empowered in leadership. Go lead boldly and humbly. And remember our vision. Elevate your team through Christ-centered leadership. If you want to be a part of our community, just go to go-northbound.com and follow the link and come join us. Follow along with courses and live streams and chats, and maybe even join us for an adventure. We'd love to have you. All of those links are in the description below. Thank you again for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. See ya.